Hello, I am Michelle Bedeker from the Graduate School of Education. I am the Program Director for the Multilingual Education Program, where we induct and socialize our students into becoming leaders for language education and language policy in schools, at universities, and also in research and scholarly context. So I joined GSE just before COVID, and so basically I got to know the school while I was in isolation. And I was fortunate enough to get a research grant which allowed me to understand the Kazakhstani space and how multilingual education and multilingual pedagogy operates in practical context. So as part of my project, I am interested in understanding how teachers deal with educational reform, specifically in multilingual education and multilingual education policy. And I come from a global south perspective, bring a different kind of perspective where I draw on post-colonial, critical post-colonial theories. I would like to think that I bring a new global south perspective to our team. I draw on critical post-colonial theories, the theory of third space, where I'm trying to understand how Kazakh teachers are coping with educational reform, specifically because they have to deal with Western educational discourse, and then this needs to merge with local practice. So from a third space perspective, I am trying to argue that we need to move away from Western educational discourse. So I bring a global south third space perspective to the multilingual education team, and specifically to multilingual education pedagogy, because I feel a third perspective sits outside of Western educational discourse. It opposes these discourses while it's also defined and influenced by the existence of these discourses. So for Kazakhstani, and especially for multilingual education and multilingual pedagogy, a third space perspective highlights the locally relevant pedagogies. It's the pedagogies in response to these educational discourses that our Kazakh teachers confront. So from a third space perspective, I'm trying to argue and I'm trying to reveal and bring to light these, what Santos calls the silenced pedagogies, the cognitive injustices that result in local context when internationalization and global discourses are brought in from the West. So I was fortunate enough in my research project to understand how CLIL teachers in the Kazakhstani context are bringing locally relevant pedagogies. It's not entirely West, and it's not entirely the Soviet legacy. It's something new. And this is what I'm interested in my research project, to bring in the local dynamics and to show how our teachers are confronted with these multilingual policies and how they engage, but more importantly, how they make decisions that are really relevant for their students. So interestingly, I think a third space perspective is so relevant to multilingual education in the Kazakhstani context. And as program director, I would like to invite prospective students to engage in this thinking with us so that we can find solutions that are locally relevant and solutions that will make sense, and solutions that will drive new policies instead of focusing only solely on the Western-East divide. Because when we merge these policies, we might come up with solutions that are really useful in the Kazakh context. Thank you.